And we're live. It says that we're live, so I'm just going to assume that we're live.
We should be live, I think.
We should be live. Welcome to Black Series Cantina, episode 65. 65.
I can't believe it's been that many.
I think it's probably 66 more than we should have done, but we're here now. We're here.
I don't know. I feel like we're a pretty good podcast. We have.
That's true.
We're only getting bigger. We're only getting better. I think we have an amazing guest coming on.
We do.
Should be an exciting pod.
Yeah. Just speaking of that, I was looking at our numbers and stuff, and we have a very good growth from our first year to our second year to like it's just constant. It's just straight up. It's just up. And that's nice. It means you're doing something right. So it feels good to get that weird validation, even though it doesn't matter. In the long run, we're all gonna die someday.
Oh, we can't bring the mood down right now. We got YakFace joining us here.
Oh,
soon.
you're right. We have a very special episode, one that I think this is probably the culmination of our existence, because we joked for a long time that basically our job was to talk about toys, and most of our news is whatever we just talk about whatever YakFace posted that week or the last 2 weeks. Like, what did YakFace post this week? And we have a little segment. What's YakFace up to? So this time we can actually ask him, because we have him here, and we're also joined by most of our Patreon members watching us. Actually, right now, not, but it's open for them to join if they want to.
We have 6 in here.
Yeah, and I would expect that we'll probably get more. But if you want to join us in the future, again, we always plug this at the top because we don't do ads. And yes, we have been approached to do ads, and we're not at the point where we're going to sell out yet. But if you want to join us for these live recordings and watch our video podcast instead of listening to it, that's on our Patreon, and it's cool. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on there. It's legitimately pretty cool. There's some cool people on there.
We definitely appreciate all the financial support on Patreon, but also remember, if you cannot financially support us, we still appreciate all the interactions.
Love you. Yes.
If you can leave a review, that would also help us out greatly.
Love getting emails. We get emails that we sometimes respond to, but sometimes I forget, and I'm really sorry about that. I'm really bad. I'll check my messages on Instagram and have like 4 or 5 like requests that I just haven't seen in a week, and I'll be like, oh man, these people said nice things. I should respond at some point.
Yeah, so we appreciate all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a huge episode today, and I'm ready to just dive in. What do you think, Mike?
Let's bring him in. Absolutely. We got Jason here, but known throughout the community as the YakFace.
Hi.
Hi.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Pleasure's all ours.
Absolutely. And we did change our names. You can't see it if you're listening, but tonight I am Mike Face, and then Zach is Zach Face, because I think it's fun. So
yeah, it's fitting for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why,
that just brings me into my first thing is why YakFace? Like I've always wondered that, and it's just a weird question to just randomly ask someone. But now that you have to answer questions because I'm interviewing you, you're obligated to tell me.
So many moons ago, this was, it's, back when, I'm trying to think how long ago it's been. I mean, I've been running the site since the, I guess, mid 2000s. But I was just like a contributor initially to the site. The site started in '96, back when all of the toy collecting sites were starting to pop up.
You had like
wait, you're telling me you didn't create YakFace?
I did not.
My whole world is falling apart. He didn't create YakFace. Robo's not actually the Floosh. What is happening right now?
We're just pulling the mask off of everybody this year. I remember it was like Gus Lopez and Steve Sansweet and like Rebel Scum and like YakFace was one of the sites I would visit.
And I was just a contributor, just submitting, random store reports and, just kind of general conversation. And at one point, I was asked, if I could do any photography. And so I was doing some, toy guide stuff, reviews. So I just kind of eased my way into working on the site and became a staff member. And then my duties kind of expanded as far as, event coverage and all those kind of things, going to Toy Fair and celebration and those kind of things. And then as the gentleman who owned the site previous, he had some health issues. So he said, hey, why don't I just turn the keys over to you? You do most of the stuff anyway. Why don't I just turn this over to you? And, we kind of worked out a gentleman's agreement, and I've been, riding it into the ground ever since.
If you could change it to any other classic Kenner name, would you keep YakFace, or would you go like Squidhead? Would you go
probably Blue Snaggletooth?
Blue
I like it.
Snaggletooth. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Really flies off the tongue.
So
Yeah. It's got to be a good classic Kenner face, though. Walrus
Right.
Man doesn't have a
Right.
good ring to it, honestly, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of how that all happened.
Yeah.
So I for years I was part of the different fan sites that did the Q&As and did the the interviews and kind of the working hand in hand with some of the brands as far as to get inside scoops and reveals and all that stuff. And back when like the Disney acquisition happened and things kind of changed as far as how Hasbro ran things and Disney ran things and didn't allow certain things, I just kind of decided I didn't want to do that kind of a thing anymore. So it became more about me just kind of doing my own thing,
Sure.
reporting
Social media and stuff. Yeah.
right, reporting things that were not necessarily everyone either could or was willing to talk about.
And in doing so, you became Hasbro's #1 enemy.
It seems like that sometimes. They
Felt like for a
I've
while
been over
Patrick had a YakFace logo and he's just putting darts on it and stuff.
right. I'm on a list. I think.
I do
not talk to list.
I do have it on a very high authority, and Mike can confirm, and the Out of the Basement Boys can confirm. It's a trusted source. You're like 90% of the reason why the pipeline exists. What I've been told. And the other 10% is they want to get out ahead of it and build excitement. But the other 90% is, yeah, we want to be the ones to reveal it, not the specific,
That's fine.
News sites.
Whatever gets people the information, on a time, or just make it fun. Get it out there. Don't all of a sudden have things spring on people. Like, hey, oh, by the way, you're going to spend X amount of dollars next week. I like having the roadmap of
Sure.
what's to come. I help it along by finding things or confirming things or letting people know, well, actually it's going to be available here and not here, and this will be fan channel here and exclusive here. It's a
Could it be
love-hate
mainline
relationship, I'm sure.
exclusive, though? Could it be mainline exclusive?
Mainline exclusive. Yeah.
Oh
That whole
God.
conversation. I'll never.
Well, before we get into that rabbit hole, let's jump into fine editions really fast. What do you say?
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
Jason, honorable guest, would you like to go first? Do you have
anything?
fine
Yeah.
editions you want to talk about?
Let's see. I guess this week, I don't think I have them. Well, I do have them kind of handy.
It can just be anything recent you picked up.
Yeah. I got my orange lightsaber versions of
Nice.
Mr. Balin Skull and
Yeah.
Shin Hati. And then I ordered some soft goods. They're wired capes. They wired hoods.
Is that from Josh's Custom Capes? Or is
Yes,
that someone else?
yes.
Yeah. I have those on. Those just shipped out for me yesterday. So.
Yeah. And so what I like, he sends a couple and then he sends some other stuff along with it. I don't know how
fun.
often you order things from
This
him.
is my first time. Yeah, it's my first time.
So at least what's happened with me, I've used his services many times for soft goods type stuff.
Mhm.
always throws in some extra things that I didn't necessarily ask for. So some other capes,
Nice.
some other,
Yeah.
you know, you know, I'm trying to think. There's some robes and some ponchos and just some other different things that are just kind of bonus pieces that I could use wherever I see fit. Because like I picked up a couple of he's got some
Oh,
soft
that's
goods,
nice.
Oh, that looks good. Yeah.
and I weathered those up and, added them for my different
Yeah.
droids, my HK droids.
Yeah. For the people listening, he's got HK droids with some of Josh's wired capes on there. And
Yeah.
Josh, if you're listening, buddy, or if anyone out there wants some good wired capes, Josh's custom capes does some good stuff.
They are really good. That's the robe I got, the wired robe or cape for the SHO Anakin. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
This was one of the capes that were, it's a blue version of the same kind of Balin skull cape. I'm not sure who I'm going to use it for, but it's, awesome. The
He's got
tailoring
one
is
for
perfect.
Asajj Ventress, and I really want to get that one.
That might work.
I was about to say that I feel like a Ventress could use that, or maybe like some type of bounty hunter. Like,
Yep. What else did I get? Let's see. Trying to look around here. Oh, I picked up another of the Pike soldiers because I like having. I do
still need to
kind of
pick
like
that one up.
squads when I do any kind of an army builder. I'm always buying 5. It seems like
I was going to ask what your number was. Everyone's got a number.
5
So
is
five-
usually
five-
the number. It depends. Sometimes, it depends on if there's a specific number in, the group you're trying to replicate.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times it's 5 with clones and jet troopers and all those battle droids and stuff like that. I like 5 seems to be a nice odd even number.
You got like
for me.
one leader and then like 4 people to stand
Right.
behind him.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good
Yep.
number. Yeah.
But I think that's it. It like we talked about a little bit before. It's been kind of slow beginning of the year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of acquisitions yet.
Yeah. Do you think, I know we've had slow beginnings to years before. Like I remember 2019 was an absolute drought for like half the year, and then we got slammed with a bunch of stuff. Do you think it's going to be similar this year? Or do you,
I think it will. I mean, it's weird that, we got so much at the end of
we
last
did.
last
Yeah, so
year.
the first 4 months last year, there was really nothing shipping.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that, they try to beat the like the Chinese New Year type of drought
sure.
of not
Yeah.
having anything coming over. So it all comes early, and then they ship it all early. It's like a lot of that stuff that some of the stuff that we're waiting on, I think isn't supposed to come out until like April, May. Like the Padme and the Anakin and the battle droid B1 2-pack. Those are starting to show up now in the US, so I only assume those will start shipping out early.
Yeah. When you say that they're starting to show up, does that mean that they're hitting the ports? Like they're okay.
Like they're in LA right now,
Okay.
Los Angeles.
Which means that it still takes time for them to go to like the warehouse, and then
That's how Luke gets them so fast. He just goes and steals them off the port.
he's right there. He just goes to the port.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So my stuff. I'm gonna start first thing with this is 100% Dan Larson's fault. So Dan, if you're listening, this is your fault. But he got me hooked on this Megatron right here. This is from YOLO Park. It's just an action figure. It does not transform. It's a model kit, but you don't put anything together other than like the arm. It's fully put together, assembled. You just stick it on the body. Like it's not a model kit, but it is. But it's incredible. It's $50, and for $50, it's die cast. It's painted super, super well. It feels substantial. It came with a ton of accessories. Nice little stand. Like I think I think I'm going to get more of these for sure. They have an Optimus that
I like the color of it. It looks like a nice shiny, metallic toned.
Mr. Robo has been pumping those pretty hard on his shows the past few weeks.
Good.
I think they're great. You know, I'm not a huge Transformers collector. I kind of collect them visually. Like I see them in the stores. I kind of look at them a little bit and say, well, this would be cool to have, but I ultimately don't end up buying it. So, you know.
And speaking of which, the just today, the current running Transformers HasLab funded. So
yeah,
hooray for me. That was one I wasn't going to fund. And then I was like, I'll just put one down. I can always cancel it. And now I don't think I will. And I hate that about me. That's my struggle. But moving on to something else. 2 years ago, I pre-ordered Mythic Legions and they just came in. The first one is this red wizard guy named, I think his name's like Zendi or something like that. He's awesome. He comes with a bunch of hands, alternate head that makes it look like he's kind of glowing and spellcasty, and some little spell effects that he came with. I dug that. But the star of the show, and honestly, this might be my favorite figure of the year. I just don't know how anything can beat it. Is this big friggin' dragon guy. His name is Arakagor, and he's beautiful and he's gorgeous, and I love him. And if anything happens to him, I will kill everyone and myself. So he just looks amazing. I really like
he's pretty sick.
Yeah. And that's all I got because and I will say on my shelf back here, there's a bunch of new risers. Those were like $10 a piece on Amazon. Well, it was a pack of 2 for $20, so I'm counting $10 a piece. But I've probably spent about $200 in the last month on those, getting my shelves all set up. So that's all I got.
It's a good thing Patreon's popping off. So
right,
join the Patreon to fund Mike's risers.
More risers. Well, if I get them done, I'll make a video for my collection. I've had so many people ask for a collection tour, and I haven't done one since I moved 2 years ago. So it's time.
So these aren't necessarily fine editions because I've already talked about them, but I did want to talk about them one more time. I did do the thigh swap for Balin and Chin, which now I feel like they're like, I don't think it's perfect, but it makes a difference on the shelf. Like it's noticeably he towers over her. Jason, did you do the thigh swap?
I've done it for Balin. I have not yet done it for Shin.
Yeah, it makes a big difference for both. I noticed his skirt or kilt, whatever we want to call it, was like flailing out. So I put a tab of like just a small amount of super glue on his thighs to have his robe like lay down and not flare out. Because after I put it in the hot water, it was kind of sticking out a little. So I would kind of recommend that. That way it lays nice and flat right there. So that's cool to finally have a like at least close to size, a correct size for Balin and Chin. It's unfortunate that we even have to do that.
For sure.
But you know, it is what it is. And there's people like on my TikTok comments that are like, you know, the fact that you have to do this says everything about Hasbro, blah, blah, blah. But I will say, like, how often do we have to do that? Like, I know I'm not making excuses for Hasbro. But at the same time, I feel like most of the figures are really, really great. But this, I did want to show. I 3D printed the Cantina bar.
Nice.
For because I figured I have like a Cantina bar setup shelf, but I didn't have the actual like bar where people are drinking. So I was like, I have to have that. So then I just took the client head off and his cloak or his like overlay, and I just popped an Obadiah Stane head on it. You know, a nice random bartender. So this is my setup now. I got the band on the right. I got Han and Greedo there in the middle, and now the bar on the left. Mike, I took your advice and I put Zuvio back there. I feel like he fits into the Cantina bar pretty well.
See?
Yeah, right? He does.
There are certain figures that people wrote off, but even though they don't show up in a movie or the movie they show up in isn't well received, as figures and as toys, they still look cool. Zuvio's one. Zori Bliss is another. She's hanging out at my Jabba's palace right now. Like they just are good background filler alien type people that look neat. So why not?
Yeah, so I was trying to think of other figures I could put in here, or other like combinations of figures people don't want. What could I do? So people listening, what could I do with this Rose Tico to like alter it to make it fit by the Cantina bar? Like whose head can I swap? Or
I've got my Rose right here too. That's kind of weird.
oh, nice! Look at that. Yeah, this is part of my take off the shelf pile. So
yeah,
right.
Mine's in my take off the shelf pile too.
Because I'm trying to
and
clear
I hate
space.
saying that because I hate that because I just don't want people to be like, see, my case doesn't even like that stuff. Like that's not it. That's not it.
Well, it's more of like it's not necessarily sequels hate, and I'm keeping like sequels down there. Like I still have.
Sure. I got
3 shelves of sequel stuff down there. It's just the characters that I don't care about. I just need free space because it was too cramped. Well, and a lot of the Force Awakens Last Jedi figures are terrible.
Well, and because they came out in like the worst part of the line where they weren't really painting faces and everything kind of looks dumb. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like I was gonna say you could get a selfie series, but no, you can't.
Yeah, that died quick.
Oh, speaking of which, I guess this is as good a time as any. I was working on my selfie series video, and my selfie series fell over, and the glasses broke. So tragedy.
Are they sculpted on?
They are like glued on. It's like a separate piece that's glued on, and it hit the corner, and now it's fine here, and then it gets to the corner, and it's just gone. It's just like half of glasses is just gone, and it sucks.
Yeah, maybe you can find some on Etsy or like a replacement and like pry that one off.
I've looked at that stuff. No, it doesn't work. I've already looked at that stuff. Nothing I've seen really works. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think I kind of wanted to maybe talk about what people might be most interested in listening to this episode. Yak, recently you kind of posted on Instagram. Maybe you were having some thoughts about what you collect and the line as a whole. And then I know you posted a follow-up with like some bullet points on some.
Right.
So kind of talk to us about what was going through your thoughts there.
It happens often with those live streams where whether it's my own personal or your own personal expectations get blown up to, all of these unrealistic heights sometimes. And, a lot of the time I know what's going to be shown for, I'm surprised very little, I would say, when those live streams happen and what gets revealed. And, there are some genuine surprises, don't get me wrong. But, you watch those comments that roll in on the live stream, and it just brings you down, like sometimes how do I say,
like toxic?
It just puts a negative spin on the whole experience, and you feel almost guilty that you're collecting some of this stuff sometimes, and it's like, am I really having fun doing this anymore? And you just kind of start this reinforcing, negative spiral on, how much time am I wasting doing this? And but what I eventually boiled down to, and after I took a bit to think about it, is, I'm collecting what I like, and, I'm not going to let anyone else, cloud my enjoyment of what I do and how I do it. And, it's, everyone just has to maybe take a step back. If these reveals are not your cup of tea, or not what you think the line should be, or, is it a waste of time? Maybe you should just take a step back and just give it some space. You don't have to collect everything. You're not, no one's forcing any of these things on you. Sure, we could all kind of Monday quarterback and say how we would improve the line here and there. Obviously, that's not going to happen. We can make our suggestions. We can, get behind the latest, campaign or poll or whatever viral thing that comes along. But essentially, it comes down to you either support the line or you don't. And you just pick and choose. You don't have to collect everything. Pick a era and just collect those figures, or a cartoon or a whatever. But I think a lot of people, they're not of the completist mentality anymore. I don't know a lot of people that collect every single thing regardless of what it is. I mean, I gave up that ship a long time ago.
I feel like it's so impossible now with inflation and how many multi-packs.
Right.
And
2023 was my year. I was a completionist until then. I couldn't do it.
And so, that's kind of, I was down for a good couple days, and then I kind of came back around saying, hey, I'm having fun doing the things I'm doing in this hobby, whether it's, looking for stuff that, no one knows about yet, or making all these graphics that I do for, shit that people don't want to buy or make fun of, or, it's just a repack, or it's, my enjoyment comes from doing that, for me. And I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And if people don't like it, that's on them. I'm not going to I'm not out to change anyone's mind or say, hey, you really should buy this or the line's going to die. I'm not going to try to convince anyone to spend money. I'm just going to say, hey, this is available. Like it, buy it. Don't.
Yeah. People have been saying the Black Series is going to die since 2014.
I know.
And look where we are. It's still going. You see people selling off their collections because of X, Y, or Z, and it's cyclical. It happens with the vintage collection, it happens with the Black Series, and then people end up going and rebuying things they lost or they gave up.
Zach did that.
It's
me.
People just have to collect how they want to collect.
Yeah. I always think it's funny how sometimes something will snap in people, and they don't go, I just don't want to buy anymore, to I want to sell everything. I don't even want to look at these anymore. Right. And that's always, it's fascinated me. Like, did you like Star Wars? Were you collecting it because you liked them, or like what caused you to collect them in the first place, that you would just throw them away? Like, you just don't even want to see them anymore. Like, and I'm not calling you like a fake fan. There's a lot of reasons why someone can collect toys or whatever, but it's just interesting to me that is, and it's not an uncommon reaction. Yeah. And, part of it, I guess, would be like, they want to fund collecting something they do want, which I get, they've sunk money into it. They want to get some of it back so they can get other stuff. Like, space is an issue. Like, we're all working on that right now. I've had to pare down stuff just so I can get the things I want on the shelf, the things that I want to look at the most. And it doesn't mean I don't like the things I'm taking off. And I want to stress that. I posted a picture. We talked about it on our last episode, and I've had a lot of response to people like, Mike, I can't believe you're taking this off. And it's not because I don't like it. Other than the General Obi-Wan, which I genuinely think is an overrated figure that's not good, but people love it anyway. But that's neither here nor there. It's just because there are things I like more that I want to display without crowding my shelf. Not that I don't like them. And it's just, it's fascinating to me to see people's different and sometimes visceral reactions to
people get so angry.
So angry over toys.
Right.
These are toys.
Yeah, your comments are the worst. And a lot of times, sometimes I am one of the guys who, whenever you post something, I'll just like throw in like a dart, like I'll tease like the TVC people a bit.
You go fishing,
and then I'll throw like some bait out there, and then just watch all the fish bite, and it's so fun. But I love it. But the toxicity is like sometimes it can go to a different level, and it's just ridiculous. Like, they're just toys. They're just action figures. It's supposed to be a fun hobby.
Right. And I generally let people just kind of, you know, if it gets to be too heated, I'll say, hey, you two take it to your own pages. You don't need
Yeah.
to be, you know,
Yeah.
insulting each other back and forth on my page. You know, and
Yeah.
I end up just, you know, deleting a bunch of comments, and then people get mad that I delete their comments, you know. And if they're consistently negative, like you don't contribute in any other way but just to come onto my page and take a dump, like I just delete your comments, and you know, and then they get mad. Oh, why are you deleting my comments? It's like,
You're censoring me.
Stop censoring. Yep. Stop censoring me.
like this is not a democracy here. I run this place. You post whatever you want on your page, you know. So
That's awesome.
Well, that's nothing but respect there. So I kind of want to take a step back. You obviously have been collecting for a long time. When did you get started?
well, my first Star Wars stuff, you know, was in, you know, the late 70s.
Okay, so vintage, like
vintage, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, first figures were, you know, the same as a lot of people's, you know, Luke and Vader and Vinyl Cape Jawa and that kind of stuff for my first Star Wars stuff. And I have all of my original stuff that I've ever had from when I was a kid. And I have a lot of it kind of in this room on display. But yeah, I was one of those kids that was heavy into Star Wars right from the beginning. So, and I never quit. I've always collected Star Wars, even, you know, in the
Power of the Force, 90.
yeah,
Even during the dark
in late
times?
80s
Yeah.
when there was really nothing. You know,
Yeah.
I was still looking for vintage Star Wars stuff, you know, flea markets and garage sales and, you know, county fairs and stuff like that. But I've always been a Star Wars fan.
So are you heavy into both Black Series and TVC currently?
Yep.
Do you go hard on both?
Yep, I do both pretty extensively.
Do you have a favorite child?
Do I have a favorite? It's hard to, I mean, vintage collection is probably,
It's nostalgic.
yeah, just because that's where it all began for me,
Sure.
that scale. But there's a lot about the Black Series that I just absolutely adore and love. So they're really, I treat them equally as far as I don't really weigh them in my collection one more than the other. I have far more Black Series stuff on display than I do vintage collection stuff, just because I have so much vintage collection stuff, I don't know where to put it. And
Sure.
the Black Series stuff, the current line of Black Series stuff is very easily displayable.
And also with TVC, you have the big ships. I'm sure that takes up more space.
Yeah. And it's harder to display, at least for me in my current setup, to display, you know, hundreds of carded figures versus what I have so far from the current line, you know, the Galaxy packaging, mural packaging. That just lends itself easier to immediate display, at least in my setup. I'm sure if I wanted to prioritize vintage collection, I could come up with something, but my current setup,
I wouldn't recommend that personally.
yeah, like my current setup is heavily Black Series.
That's what we like to hear on a Black Series Cantina podcast.
Do you?
So tomorrow he'll go on, you know, the TVC podcast, and he'll be like,
he'll be on Victorious. Yeah.
yeah, I prioritize TVC.
Yeah.
Well,
do you feel currently right now that Hasbro's doing a decent job at balancing the scales?
This one's always tough because it's I don't think they do a great job for either line as far as there's so many holes in both the Black Series and vintage collection that aren't being filled, I would say. Like, even though we have a lot of A New Hope type figures, we don't have a lot, at least in the Galaxy packaging. And as far as, you know, Revenge of the Sith, we have nothing for that.
Mhm.
Or we have, you know, and we don't have, there's not, I mean, there are some vintage collection figures, but again, not a lot. And it's not something they have visited recently. It's very current media for both lines.
Sure.
And that's understandable to a point.
Do you think that's a Hasbro's problem, or do you think that's a Lucasfilm problem?
I think it's a shared problem, a shared agreement, you know, especially during, you know, in times like this when there's no movies coming out, there's nothing, you know, as far as shows, even though Bad Batch is coming out soon. This is the time when I think they would get to some of those things that have been on the back burner for a long time. You know, more Cantina aliens, more, you know,
prequels and
Jedi, you know, just a lot of, this would be the prime opportunity to do that when you don't have new media smacking you in the face all the time.
How much, I don't know if you have any insight into this, but how much harder do you think they're going to go with this prequel 20th anniversary? Do you think we're still going to get some more from that, or have we seen maybe the most of it?
You know, I think we'll definitely get some more of those, you know, like the clone 2-pack type of things, like with the Mace Windu and the 187th clone, more of that type of stuff. There's like,
what do they call that line? Is it Clones of the Republic?
Heroes of the Republic,
Heroes of the Republic or something?
There's more things like that. There's, I'm not sure when it's coming, but it's, there's like this 5-pack of I'm not sure if it's like going to be one of these convention type, you know, box set type things, you know, where it's going to have like a Vader, Emperor, Maul, Thrawn, and Grievous. I think that's who's in the 5-pack.
Wow.
For Black Series or for TVC?
Black Series.
Wow, a Black Series 5-pack?
Yeah.
Wow, you heard it here first on Black Series Cantina.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting how much Hasbro's been doing multi-packs. I feel like they went so long without doing multi-packs, and then this year we've got so many multi-packs either pipelined or like out for pre-order. Just this year.
Yeah.
And I'm glad. I've been a proponent for, it seems like ever since we started this podcast, that I kind of wanted them to get back into multi-packs. I love 2-packs personally.
Yeah. Especially with, you know, having a Jedi and a clone type pack, or, you know, a Jedi and a commander. I think
it sucks for army building, but I mean,
right.
I don't really need to.
Well, even, especially if it's like a commander and a Jedi, you know, having one is perfectly fine. And then
absolutely,
you know, have the supporting clones in the regular line. But
that's what I did think, because one of those TVC like 4-packs they did, like with the clones or the stormtroopers or whatever, they made one of them like a named clone to where it doesn't necessarily make sense to buy. You know, 2 of the pack or 3 of the packs. It's like, come on, you gotta just make them normal army builders of different legions. People would buy. It's like the Order 66 pack. Like, I know that went on clearance originally for Black Series, but eventually that became like a $300 item. People are going to buy a lot of those if neither of them are named.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I would be remiss if we didn't talk about the Rancor.
The Rancor.
And I don't
R.I.P. the Rancor.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, we have our famous. We have our shirt here. We got a Force Ghost Rancor shirt.
Yak, I'm gonna DM you to get your address, and we'll send you a RIP Rancor shirt on behalf of the podcast. We'll send you one.
I will wear it.
All right. Do you feel like the No Ula, No Mula campaign contributed significantly to the failure of the Rancor, or was it going to fail on its own without it?
It was going to fail on its own without, but it did. The no Mula, No Ula did not, or No Ula, No Mula did not help in any way move that needle in positively anyway.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard from a few people that that campaign killed it. And do I feel bad about it? Kind of. I was not going to buy it just because I didn't like the tiers. I didn't like the value. I just wasn't going to buy it for that price. But yeah, I think it probably contributed to it not funding. Yes,
That's fair. I think.
Yeah.
And again, I was never one of those people that's like, everyone has to buy this. Like, I think if people genuinely didn't see the value, that's fine. But
Yeah.
Yeah, me
feel like
personally,
there were-
I was in on it no matter what, because I just wanted the Rancor, and
I wanted the Rancor. Yeah.
you know, I know I'm a sucker. Like, I know I'm a sucker, but that thing could have been $600, and I would have been like, yeah, I think I'm doing it because it's the only option I have. Hasbro, if you're listening, don't take any notes.
Don't do that. Do not listen.
Do not
to Zach.
charge us $600.
right.
But
You know-
I hope they bring it back. Hope so.
I think if they would have course corrected just a little sooner,
Mm-hmm.
it would
On
have
the Malakili.
Yeah, because I don't think in the end, I don't think as many people as they thought knew about the inclusion of him at the end, potential inclusion.
I agree.
of him.
It was so late, and I remember one post you made where you're like, "Fine, I'll market it," and I was like, "Well, I mean, I got to give it to you. Like, you're doing more at that point." At that point, I feel like the Star Wars team was so like dejected. They were just so disheartened by all the
Right.
negativity
Yeah.
that they didn't even want to talk about it. I feel like.
Right.
And I think that was I think, you know, I'm not one to blame you, although I do think I agree. I think the No Ula, No Mula campaign, I think what it did was it gave the people who were on the fence the ammunition to
Right.
not get it. And I think that hurt a lot of the swing votes for the people, because there are always people that were going
Swing
to
votes. We're talking about like swing.
No,
I
that's
know.
what it is, though. That's exactly what it is. Because you'll get the people that are hardcore, they're gonna get it, they're excited about it, and you got the people who just from the get-go don't want it. But a lot of people are in the middle where they just hang out, like, maybe I'll get it, and if they see a lot of people get it, they'll swing that way because of FOMO and all that stuff. And then if they see that it's the other way where a lot of people are ragging on it, they'll swing on to that. And
Right.
I definitely think that campaign specifically
Right.
sort of swung a lot of people towards that
And
negativity.
And even after I posted that No Ula, No Mula thing, I still promoted it just as much as I would have right to the end.
Sure.
Every update, every milestone that it was, when it crossed the next 1,000, or, their deadline is coming up, tomorrow, it's gonna, I promoted it throughout, and it happened. Whatever.
It happened. Yeah, what happened happened.
And-
We can't do it.
Right.
And I've said all the time that I feel like I marketed that thing. Well, whenever I had the big Black Series account,
Your
before that
big channel.
before that got shut down,
Yeah.
before the man took me down.
Right.
Like, I felt like I marketed that thing more than Hasbro did, because
Yep.
I made a special TikTok for the final day of the backing,
Yep.
like urging people, like, this is the last day, go get it.
Yeah.
Like, multiple Instagram posts, to thousands of followers, and then it was just like peeps from Hasbro, like, oh, Malakili's in it, see ya, like, good luck. Like it almost felt like they were relying on the YakFaces and the big Black Series accounts and all the people on Facebook groups and, you know, Twitter and Instagram
Right.
to like word of mouth, like let people know about it rather than, and like I know we've gone down this rabbit hole a million times on this podcast, but the marketing campaign, like the revealing the renders, you know, it was just a bad mistake. And like pretending like, oh, we haven't gotten the painted version yet. We'll look at that next week. Like, stop. You've seen everything well in advance. Like, it just wasn't thought out.
Yeah.
Wasn't thought out very great.
Yeah, you couldn't judge scale from, because I think initially you didn't have any of the hard copies being shown with a person. You know, like I don't think you could tell scale initially.
Yeah. Like, I know they did a video to open it with like some renders, and then they had like the Gamorrean in the mouth, but like it was just hard to like, and they tried to do the one with the arms wide.
Right.
But you can have like a marker that says, oh, it's 44 inches wide, but still like visually, that doesn't mean anything to people when it's on a screen. Like you need to have it how they did the Ghost, you know, have it like at a convention to where people can see it, and all the bloggers and, you know, social media posters are going to be like, oh, this thing in person actually looks really good. So it'll look good on your shelf, not the people who are selling it to you being like, oh, you should buy it because we know it looks good. You know, I feel like that was like a big difference.
Zach, whose side are you on?
I'm on the side of good marketing, and TVC has been marketing their HasLab. That's why I made the video.
I think every team has been marketing their HasLabs really well outside of the Black Series team, honestly. How long into that campaign did it take you to come up with no Ula, no Mula?
I don't know. I'm usually pretty good about coming up with things like that, like little phrases or puns or something like that. And
why Ula? Like, do you care about her that much, or is it just like a rhyming thing?
It's one of those things where that would be the avenue to get her if you know, if we were going to get an Ula, you know, because she had been a pack-in before in the it wasn't the vintage collection, but it was the
something after
with the Walmart exclusive Java
or something. Yeah.
And you know, there was talk about how, you know, that type of figure is off limits now, and which isn't really necessarily accurate, because you still see merchandise with her on it. Disney has produced clothes and, you know, different items that has her picture, so it's not about her specifically. So I didn't feel that figure was off limits. Is why they couldn't have her as part of the program. And even you could still release her single, you know, as a single figure outside of it, you know, where Malikili would be a harder sell outside of the Rancor, because if you don't have a Rancor, what do you need the Rancor?
Yeah, what's the point? Yeah. Because you could pose an Ula with a Jabba.
Right.
The scene where she's trying to choke him or escape or whatever she's trying to do there.
Right. And again, that comes down to the whole marketing of the Rancor from the beginning. It's like Malikili should have been right at the outset, you know, not as a second.
If they had come out,
if that would have funded,
you
know, and run its course, you know, Malikili would not have been included, and then it would have been an outside purchase. So then you're in that situation where, you know, it's a retailer exclusive, but again, if you miss the Rancor, you don't have anything to go with it, you know.
Looks like the current things they're doing with the Chopper and Sabine,
right?
Where I could buy those right now if I wanted to, but then I'll have 2 of the 6 cards or whatever to complete the set, because
then you got to buy a secondhand Ghost for however much, you know.
Right.
Do you think they could do more stuff? Because I found they've done this twice with Vintage Collection, where it's like a HasLab Lite, where it's not really dependent on funding, but they just have like a pre-order period open.
Yeah.
They did that with Jabba's Palace. They did that with these two figures, a 2-pack, where like
Right.
anyone can pre-order it and then they stop it and then they
Right.
make them. You get them like a year later.
Right.
Do you
It's like a made to order almost, like
kind
notification
of
style.
Do you think that's something that they could do more of, specifically in the Black Series?
I think they could and they should.
Yeah,
You know,
like
they're even doing
vehicles
it
could be
with
done that way. Like
what's that?
Mm-hmm.
like vehicle, like not
Yeah.
big vehicles, but like the smaller vehicles. Because I understand they stopped doing it because people weren't buying them. They're waiting for them to go on clearance because they
Mhm.
knew if they did wait, they would go on clearance because that's how it's happened every one. So I understand the mentality of why would I spend full price on this when if I wait 6 months, it'll be $20. Like I
Right.
get that. But then that's
Yeah.
also why we don't have any more vehicles because everyone was doing that. So if they switched to like, if they did a Cobb Vanth and his little speeder thing or whatever,
Or an
something stupid
N1
like that.
Starfighter.
Yeah, just not anything big, just something small, like the speeder bike level of something, or like Enfys Nest speeder, or like a land speeder with Han Solo from the Solo movie. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but like
Right.
not
I ain't buying that. That's
not,
for
not anything HasLab level, not anything like $500,
Right.
but just something that would have been like $60 or $80 at a level $100. A friggin'
like a Rancor. Like a
like a
Rancor.
Yes, like
Like
a
a
Rancor.
Rancor.
Right. I think
Yeah.
they should do more, because like with this E-wing that has just come out for the vintage collection, that's kind of this same limited pre-order window of
Mhm.
X date here. We're cutting
Oh, are they
off
doing it
pre-orders.
like that? Are they,
Yeah.
Is that how they're doing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have until the March 5th to order the E-wing, and then the pre-orders are cut off.
Oh,
So
then I should pre-order it because I think I'm actually going to get that because I've loved the E-wing ever since getting my Essential Guide to Vehicles and Vessels book back in the 7th grade. Like,
Yep.
I don't know what it is about that ship. I just love it.
I saw Justin just chimed in from
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
like,
shout out.
yeah.
I hope people enjoyed their episode last week. They were our special guests of honor last week, so we appreciate them popping in. Always a good chat with the boys. I did want to ask, do you think, like, when would you predict the next Black Series HasLab to be, or do you think they're done? Do you think they're done with Black Series HasLab, or do you think they might give it one more shot?
at least there won't be one this year, a Black Series one.
Yeah, I figured it would have to be a couple years out, probably.
Yeah. The stuff, they've kicked ideas around for Black Series, and I think size is just the huge determining factor with some of those choices that they've kicked around.
I just feel like, with the His Tank and the Dragonfly, which I've backed both,
Mm-hmm.
like that, I feel like, the want for larger vehicles is there.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not there.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a perfect one would be like the Jedi Interceptor, or what from Episode 3, Anakin's and Obi-Wan's or whatever. I just want, and I know Justin, speaking of, and Nate from Out of the Basement have been talking about this as well. Give the prequel HasLab a chance. Find something in the prequels. I guarantee it'll back. I feel like that's what Black Series collectors want, personally. Give me an Anakin, Jedi, Starfighter, or Interceptor from Episode 3, and it's going to hit all 5 tiers, guaranteed, bottom line. I don't care what the tiers are. The tiers could be you have to pay more in order to get it. And it'll back all 5 tiers.
I don't think so.
I would back it.
I do think a lot of people with the Rancor specifically were assuming that Hasbro was bluffing about like this being it. Like they'll come around, they'll redo it. Trust us. Trust us. If we don't do it, they'll come around, and obviously that's not true. They haven't, and they probably won't. I will say, after watching the Book of Boba Fett finale, I'm glad that they didn't. I'm not glad it didn't fund, but those silver eyes were wrong. I know the original model had it, but that's like my one big complaint about it, and they just missed the mark on that because he does not have silver eyes. I don't care if the model had it or not. Like what you see on screen, not silver eyes.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I want what I see on screen. I don't care how the model is. I want
Yeah.
the actual creature.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so let's move away. I wanted to bring up the Rancor because it's not that I've harbored anything against you for it, but I did want to address.
We did
it.
want to talk about it. Yeah. I mean,
what is a figure that has been rumored and is clearly never going to come out that you're actually a little disappointed in?
A figure that has been rumored.
Like something that you knew was on the docket, something that you knew was coming out. Like you've done a couple.
Yeah.
Like the
I'm
Crate
trying to think
Luke
like Crate Luke.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The Luke Leia, the training one from Rise of Skywalker.
All three of those are great.
I love it when people talk about those as if they were actually pipelined. I'm like, no, those were never pipelined.
No,
that YakFace is not a pipeline.
Right. Yeah, those are three good ones. I'm trying to think.
Are there any others that we don't know about?
There was
there
was a different version of Echo from the Bad Batch.
Oh, interesting.
I'm trying to think of what it looked like. There was
a credit collection.
It was a different helmet, and
it was a concept, maybe, and they scrapped it, or
maybe.
Was it that one where he was being a droid for like that one episode where he had like a bucket on his head?
No. God, I wish I had. I don't have a picture of it handy, but there's hard copies of the helmet that floated around a while ago, maybe a year ago. I just have to see if I can find those. That was one.
If you say episode 3 Anakin, I'm gonna start head tantrums.
If you can't tell, that's Zach's biggest want right now.
I don't think you're gonna have to wait for long to get him. Okay.
Boom! Okay. I don't think so either, because the Ahsoka series. So
yeah, Anakin and Obi-Wan are
talk dirty to me, baby. Talk dirty to me, baby. Let's go.
Upgrades, total redos.
They are pretty old. Absolutely.
Yeah. YakFace blink twice if it's coming out this year.
I don't know about this year.
He's blinking multiple times right now.
Is maybe one of those a Darth Maul, because we noticed maybe the side of a package of a figure with a lightsaber on it?
I think there's a new Darth Maul. Yeah,
the one from
Boom.
Right.
Because like we were talking about it, we were looking at this figure, and like there's only so many people
box,
in the Phantom. There's only so many people in the Phantom Menace that have lightsabers. There's like 3. Yeah. We see 3 lightsabers in the whole movie.
Right.
And only one of them would.
I can pull it up right here. Our last week's, right.
It's clearly like behind a leg or something, and
it's like a baggy pants.
Yeah,
that has to be a Darth Maul.
Yeah.
But do you know if this is a newly tooled Maul, or are they going to reuse the same really old body?
Yeah, I'm pretty. I think that one is being retired. That original Maul.
Praise Jesus. I will say these are only rumors, so if this does not happen, YakFace is not liable.
Yeah.
So please do not DM YakFace and all this toxic stuff, because anything can change. Hasbro can change their mind at any second.
Right.
But yeah, I really hope that's a brand new Darth Maul for sure. And I don't know if you've heard this, Yak, but so the same source as I talked about earlier, and Mike can confirm this, and Out of the Basement Boys can confirm it.
You have to use us as reference.
Well, I just it's just so people know I'm not like making it up out of
You're
thin
not
air,
making it up. No, you have a source.
You've seen
I've seen
visually.
Your source. Yes.
Yeah. They said that they may or may not have given multiple figures to different people to see what leaks, and that Crate Luke may or may not have been one of them. Well, that's just what I was told. So,
Crate Luke was leaked from the Gregory Titus thing. We talked to him about that. Yeah.
I could probably pull it up on Walmart.com right now.
Yeah,
probably so. Yeah.
Yeah.
His art leaked with who else leaked on that? Was it Jar Jar's art, or was it
Jar Jar? what Commander Bly was on there, and one other big one. It was Zeb.
Zeb. Yeah.
Because those guys never got released in that packaging. They got released in the Bly wasn't, but Zeb and Jar Jar didn't get released in that packaging.
Right.
So Gregory Titus's artwork didn't get used. But he drew it. And we talked to him about that on our podcast. Anyone listening to that, if you haven't heard it, it was a good episode.
That was a great chat. That was a great chat.
Yeah. That's interesting. We had some good bombshells there. How long do you see yourself staying in the line, like collecting?
Well, I turned 50 this year.
Congrats.
I might as well keep going.
All right.
Yes.
99. Why stop now? That's
Right.
my favorite fallacy. That's the sunk cost fallacy. Like, why stop now?
Yep. If I haven't grown up by now, I'm not going to. So I'll just keep doing it until I'm completely sick of it. But
do you ever get tired of like you mentioned earlier about how like you're rarely surprised? Like, does that constant treadmill information ever get tiring?
Yeah, like sometimes, let's say things are planned on being shown at a convention or part of a group of pre-orders and they pull back for some reason. You don't know why things happen the way they do, but you hear such and such was going to be part of the reveals or the pre-orders or the convention, whatever, and it gets pulled for whatever reason. It's usually a Lucasfilm thing. Excuse me. That stuff gets kind of frustrating because whether that thing that's held back would have really turned the opinion of the thing overall, you kind of hate to see that happen. But again, there's nothing you could really do about it, and other than bust them on it and say, hey, what happened to this? This was supposed to be shown. I've got the stuff right here. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. But
what are some things that you have been surprised by that were revealed recently that you didn't?
Let's see. I'm trying to think.
Were you surprised by the like the Jabba and the Force Ghost 3-pack last year for Return of the Jedi anniversary? Because I was really shocked. I did not. I don't know. You have like leaks, but that was kind of the last thing I expected out of that.
I'm trying to. The Force, the ones that are tough to get any info on a lot of the time are the Hasbro Pulse exclusive type stuff, because that's so
they don't show up in
internal
systems. Yeah. So
yeah, the Force Ghost ones were surprising. The Jabba one, I heard the Jabba was coming out, but I just didn't know how the presentation was going to be. It made sense for the 40th anniversary, and I suspected it would probably be in the vintage like packaging. But the Force Ghost one, that one was surprising. Looking around here to see what else.
Did you know pretty far in advance they were going to do a correct Chrysanthemum from the Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
As soon as the Chewbacca repaint released? Yeah.
That was... With some of that stuff, you just know that they're going to do it. Even though they come out with like the lesser versions first or whatever, the pre-paints or whatever you want to call them, they're going to get to the one that people actually want. Like
Doc Onder to Memo
right.
Aiden. Yeah.
So are you saying they intentionally released Balin and Shin at exactly 6 inches so they eventually also
just so they could sell Rivas?
Right.
No.
And then everybody also buys the correct heights?
I just have to know, was Pre Vizsla hanging out so long? Does he predate the new body? Is that why he's on the old body? Or did they just choose to put him on the old body? I have to know.
I'm not sure about that
Not
one.
sure. Oh
No.
man, it's just such a weird. So I saw someone last week do a custom using the newer body,
Hmm.
and it looks so good. It looks so
Right.
much better than the one that they used, and it just like I'm never one of those people that has that entitled opinion like this is what we deserved or whatever.
Yeah.
But I kind of do on that one. Like, what the heck? You spent all this time and money making this much better Mandalorian body
Yep.
that you've been reusing a lot, and I don't mind because it's a good body. But then you go and put a character people want on like one of the oldest bodies in the line that had already been retired. And
Yeah.
the only reasoning for that I could think of was they had just had it for a while and have been sitting on it. That was the
Right.
only reason I could think of why they would do that.
Yeah. And sometimes in those instances, like if the mold is being used for something else, it can't be
Oh,
used for that.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Just because molds are so expensive. They usually, they might have a couple. It depends. It's hard to say, because a lot of sometimes the molds are used concurrently, but
Mhm.
if they're being used at the moment, then you can't do anything with it other than what it's currently being run with. So,
Well,
That
they
makes sense.
produced basically the same Boba Fett twice in 1 year. With
Right.
the Book of
Yeah.
Boba Fett one, and then the
They might have
throne
just
room one,
planned that well in advance too.
the
though.
throne room one, and the Tython one. I'm like, this is the same figure,
Yeah.
just with different paint apps.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. But like you said, like we don't have to collect everything, and
Right.
I think it's important that as soon as it stops being fun for you, just like you said, step back. Either take a break, put some distance, or even just cut yourself off for a little bit.
Right.
Like try something
Mhm.
else.
yeah, you just reevaluate, why are you doing it? Yeah.
Do you? Oh, sorry. Do you know how they feel about the AliExpress stuff at all?
I don't. I can't imagine. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. It's like I like a lot of the things that I see coming
Mhm.
out. I'm not sure I would ever buy them. If there's a certain clone or a certain custom that I would like, I typically try to do it myself versus
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
if when it comes to like sewing, I can't do that. So I usually look for a resource to cover me for soft goods. But if it's something I could paint, I'm pretty capable of doing my own. Sculpting, I haven't really tried a whole lot. But then again, there's resources for people that 3D print parts and
Mm-hmm.
of various soft rubbers, the different, just there's so many different resources out there for 3D printing that you could resort to. I would go that route versus buying quote unquote bootleg stuff from
Yeah.
AliExpress.
I told myself I was only going to get figures that I knew that they would never make, like specifically named clones.
Right.
And the first one I got was Apo, and then what does Hasbro do like a year later is they make an Apo. So now I'm like,
Definitely a different Apo, but
I know it is. It doesn't
Still
have
an
a little
yeah.
arrow and stuff, but it was just weird. Like the odds, were weird.
Yeah.
So.
Do you expect Hasbro to go really hard on the new 3.0 clone?
Trying to think. I don't know about really hard, but I think that will be the base body going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might see some of the, I guess it'd be the 2.0 body, even though that body is still really good.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
For stuff, like for holiday figures and other repaints like that. But I think
the Mace Windu 2-pack is still the 2.0, so I hope those 2
Yeah.
packs they do.
I thought
hope
it was
they
going to be a
change those
3.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
What's your
the
Go ahead.
Target exclusive is it Target exclusive the Ahsoka show 2-pack.
Yes.
Those are both the 3.0 molds, but they put the 2.0 in the Mace Windu pack. So hopefully they update that with these 2-packs they're going to keep doing.
What is your least favorite gimmick line? Like
least
not main line, you know, like credit collection,
carbonized is
carbonized.
Carbonized.
Yeah. I've been steadfast in not supporting that line whatsoever. As much as I
have one, and it's the best one. It's the Blue Vader.
Right.
That is a good one. Yeah.
When they first came out, like there was
Force Friday. Yeah.
Right. There was the Sith Trooper,
the Mandalorian, and Jet Trooper. I think
the Silver Stormtrooper was cool, and the Blue Vader. I got that, but once they moved past that, I was just out. I just couldn't do it. I didn't see any way those could fit into my collection. I kind of said the same thing about the holiday figures, but I eventually ended up getting a lot of those. Just
people came around to those. Right. They're pretty in person.
They're fun. They're fun, festive decorations specifically for the holidays.
Yeah, I got a deal on like a dozen different ones off of someone in one of the Black Series Facebook groups for like $50 for 10 of them, and 10 or 12 of them that I didn't have. So I was like instant collection right there as far as that subline. And the Halloween ones I really liked for some odd reason.
I was disappointed. Yeah, I was disappointed we didn't get any this year. I was expecting something.
I was hoping for more. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's more.
Good. I hope they do. I forget who was it. Skeleton Astronaut that did that Dooku Dracula repaint, and that was phenomenal.
I think there's 3 this year.
Awesome.
Halloween ones.
Awesome.
Hey, that's good news because that would be fabulous.
Great news.
Because I personally like the Halloween ones more than I do the Christmas ones. It's just.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
like them
put the Christmas ones away, but the Halloween ones, there's only 2 of them, so it's not like a big deal, but I still have them on my shelf over here because they're fun.
Yep.
I will agree with you. It's the carbonized line that made me realize I was no longer going to be a completionist. It is specifically, it was the Royal Guard TIE Fighter Pilot 2-pack where I'm like, I'm just not.
Right.
Even if it's on sale, because I don't want to open them and put them in my collection, and they come in a box. So like I can't really display them.
Yep.
So like what's the point in having them? I'm just not going to buy those. And that's what made it okay for me to just stop being a completionist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think did the Ned 2-pack, did that one come out prior to the Target exclusive ones?
Yes.
The Ned B and the Purge Trooper, even though they've never interacted.
And that also is a plastic free packaging box. So like what's the point in displaying it?
Right.
Unless you open them, and I'm not planning on opening them, So
right.
I'm not an inbox collector for much, but I think the ones I have look good hanging on the wall because of the shiny boxes. Like that's part of the presentation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same thing with the, I got the credit collections all here. I think, the presentation of them in the box is
those
fun.
are actually appealing.
Yeah. I'm not an inbox. Obviously, I'm not an inbox collector. I've got.
Mm-hmm. Jason, do you keep anything on card when it like 40th anniversary stuff? Or
Yep, I have I have a complete set of the 40th anniversary ones, whether they're carded or boxed or whatnot. And then I bought duplicates of some of those just to have loose versions, like the Ewoks and that Vader. I'm trying to think. Plus, I have the like the Kenner color versions.
Mm-hmm. I like those. Yeah.
I like those
Yeah.
a lot too.
I want more of those.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about them releasing like the Endor Rebel Soldier in the regular line? Because usually they do that.
I thought it was supposed to. I thought I had a placeholder at one point for
Yeah.
it. But with how things get kind of moved around, because I thought for sure that the Jedi Luke from 40th anniversary was
Yeah.
going to be in the main line.
The removable
that
helmet,
Vader.
Darth Vader. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they eventually will. I just thought they're usually pretty quick about
Mm-hmm.
how they follow up.
Sure. I will say it's weird that we don't know what the next mainline wave of figures is. That's not like,
Well, he probably does.
well, like all we know we know waves, but they're all fan channel, like the Kiadi Mundi and the Phase 1 Stormtrooper, and then the Padme and the Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Like those aren't mainline; those are fan channel, whatever.
Yeah.
But like we don't know what the next full, as you know, usually they haven't announced it. I guess what the next full mainline wave of figures is.
Yeah.
And it's weird. Like it's weird.
Yeah. Trying to think because I know things did get shuffled around because I'm not sure if it's this next wave for vintage collection. Like there was supposed to be a Skeleton Crew figure in it, and with that
got
show
delayed.
got
Mhm.
delayed. They had to they redid the assortment. And I
had a feeling it was something like that with the Skeleton Crew getting delayed. It's going to delay the figures.
right,
Unlike Marvel, where Marvel will just release them. Like,
right,
you know, we had,
Don't care. Release him.
Yeah, well, we had figures for movies that were supposed to come out, and the movies got delayed because of COVID, but the figures still came out, like Shang-Chi. Like, no one was buying them because no one had seen the movie and no one knew who the characters were. Yeah. And by the time the movie came out, like the figures were long gone.
right. Because I think in 3 of the upcoming waves of Black Series, there's supposed to be Skeleton Crew in each of those waves.
Mm-hmm.
And with things getting pushed around, I think that's why there's such a delay in we don't know anything that's coming out in those waves right now, because they're still, I'm sure it's planned out now, but I don't know exactly what's coming in those waves. Like some of the stuff that I've heard about is a lot of 2025 figures.
Yeah. Like the Thrawn wave, which I think it has like 8 on your site.
Yeah,
it had like 8 individual figures, which is always nice. No doubles or repacks or anything. Yeah, that usually means I'm buying the whole case, which I prefer. It's just fun buying a whole case.
Right. And I think, like with Thrawn being pushed out that far, you'll see more figures from the later episodes of Ahsoka in that wave.
Right.
Like hopefully in Ezra.
Right. Space Jesus Ezra should be
love that
out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think we're still waiting. We're gonna get a lot of Mando season 3 figures this year. A lot, I say a lot, but
so
kind of
more than none.
Half a dozen,
I just hope,
probably.
I hope they're like some cool Mandalorian repaints. Like that aren't blue. Like let us get some like orange and yellow ones, like some of the other background ones. Hopefully. Anyways.
Lizzo and Captain Bombardier.
Bombardier, yeah.
I want that 2-pack.
Yeah, I think there's at least 4
straight to Ollie's.
I think there's like 4 trooper, Mandalorian trooper type that are coming out. I assume they're all exclusives. I think 2 are Walmart and 2 are Target.
Yeah, we know the 2 night owls that are coming out.
Right.
One for each. Yeah.
Yeah, the male and female.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 there's 2 others that aren't night owls.
Okay.
Ooh, nice. Good to know. And speaking of all your placeholders, it's nice that the master list is back up on the site. I feel like the collector community was in a frenzy. It's like the SpongeBob episode when it's on fire and everybody's running around. The master list is down.
There was a reason. Can't get
maintenance
into that.
or?
But it was,
Okay.
Yeah, but it was always coming back. I just had to make people sweat a little bit about it.
Well, you succeeded.
You should just update and said they're not releasing anything anymore. Line is dead.
Line.
Right.
And just watch the world burn. Watch the collector community burn.
There's not many people where like they could do that. Like if Zach or I did that, no one would care. But like if you did that, you literally could probably tank the line. Is it weird having that much power?
Power.
Influence, I should
Influence,
say.
maybe? Yeah.
Influence.
No, it's fun. I really like helping out is basically what it comes down to. I like, giving some hope where sometimes it feels like there is none for some of that's, for some of those wanted figures. And
yeah, well, you just gave Zach some, so that's
right.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We need the alive version. Like make him alive and we're good.
The only one I care about is Ponkrell, and
Ponkrell.
I don't think that'll ever happen. So
I haven't heard any Ponkrell.
That's okay.
news.
I don't assume he's ever going to happen, but I'm going to keep having him on my number one spot.
Yeah.
He'd be a fabulous Black Series
He'd be a
figure.
great figure, but although I said that about Cad Bane back in like 2020, and I didn't know that he was even rumored, and then boom, suddenly we have a Cad Bane, and I just like that.
Now we have a live action. Also,
That was weird at the time because like the Clone Wars was over. It was like long gone, and he wasn't in any new episodes of it. So I don't know why they did a Cad Bane, but same thing. Like, why did we get a Darth Malgus this year? Like, that's weird. It's weird that we got a Darth Malgus because he's not relevant to anything.
Right.
He's in a very specific, kind of obscure-ish Star Wars game. Like, it's an MMO, but like it was from 2012.
Yeah.
Like it's not a big thing right now. So like, I'm not complaining. He's one of my favorite figures they've done. I love Darth Malgus. I played SOTOR, but like, why did they choose him, over other people? Like, what was the thought process there? I was kind of wondering about a lot of those things.
It's weird how Lucasfilm licensing works. Like you can kind of get an idea what's gonna come out when you look at products coming out from other manufacturers. It's like if it shows up in Lego and it shows up in Funko and Hot Toys, they're exercising the rights or the license for those figures. So it's usually on Hasbro's list as far as it's not necessarily imminent, but it is being planned. So when you see excuse me when you see the different night troopers excuse me and different night troopers and I'm trying to think who else. Like
I know Funko did Enoch, right? And Hot Toys did Captain Enoch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Enoch.
I would love to get a Black Series
night troopers.
Enoch.
Ezra, the Imperial Commandos, like that type of stuff. They're definitely on Hasbro's radar. So when you see them, it's just a shame that it seems like they always seem to come out first from everyone else.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
and
that
you hope that it means that Hasbro, when they do release them, that they're going to be accurate.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
and that's another thing I think a lot of people, I don't know if they don't understand or whatever, but it takes like a year and a half, sometimes 2 years for a figure to get made. So a lot of times we're seeing figures that were in development before anything was finalized.
Right.
Which is, part of why we have short Balin and shit. It's why we have like inaccurate Paz Vizsla, and it's why Echo came with that weird hand thing, because apparently at one point, he had that, and it made sense to have it because he had it.
Yeah.
But the opposite, like, what would you rather have? Would you rather have figures as things are relevant and coming out, or would you rather wait a year and a half
have
to
them.
get stuff and have them be accurate? What's your personal preference?
I'd rather wait. You know.
Yep, I think we've both said we'd rather wait a little longer just to get a little more accuracy. Because I personally, it's cool to see the product on the shelf, and I get from a business standpoint wanting to push the product out as fast as possible, especially when the media is relevant. But as a collector who these figures are going to sit on my shelf for years, I would rather wait a little bit to make sure they're the version I'm seeing on screen rather than, you know, a Shin Hati who's as tall as Darth Vader, you know?
Right.
So, which obviously that's a overestimation, but over exaggeration. But the point stands.
I wish we could get them to not make anything from current media and focus on like older stuff. That even if newer things are coming out, new movies, new games, whatever, like just ignore them for a little while. Focus on filling those holes. Like, are we ever going to get the other Knights of Ren? Probably not. But while I don't, you know, while I know a lot, they're not popular. Right. I still have one, and I think they looked cool. And just from like one of my things is just as a toy, I think they all look cool as a set, and I would love to have all 9 members or whatever, however many members there are.
What a perfect way to balance the scales. You could literally have TVC get some new media stuff, and then you could just release like 20 Revenge of the Sith packaged Black Series figures, newly sculpted, TVC and then
focus on the new stuff.
You know those memes where it's like the world if this happened, and it's just like the perfectly peaceful society. That would be the world if we had like as many Revenge of the Sith figures as we did current Mandalorian figures in the Bialis pack. Right. I'm just gonna put that out there. Like all of that Ukraine, Russia stuff, that's gonna end when we get a new Anakin. I'm telling you,
it is. That's what's stopping it.
If anybody watched the Tucker Carlson Putin interview, Putin says, "I'm done invading if they do a new Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like I'm just waiting on it."
You could bring peace in the Middle East, all of that.
Peace in the Middle East if they do a new episode 3 Anakin. I'm calling it right now. You heard it here first.
You see a little kid running through the street with like holding one over his head, and like everyone just drops all their weapons, and there's like dancing in the streets.
You're like, I'm gonna have to make it yeah, everybody's rushing to the store, and then they're gonna fight in the store over it, and that's gonna cause whole new issues. I did want to ask Jason, also known as YakFace, do you have like a top 10 of figures you want to see in each line?
Oh,
or like, we're not asking what they are. I just want to know if you have a top 10.
I don't have a top 10. I'm very easy to please when it comes to toys. Just give new toys, and I'm completely content.
Do you have a number 1 then? I feel like you have to have a number 1 to fill your holes in TVC and Black Series. Like if you had to pick one right now to put on the shelf.
Would
it, I mean, I'm waiting on you just to say YakFace for Black Series.
Because I've got a custom one that I had someone make me, so I kind of already have that. I don't know. That's really tough.
If they do a YakFace Black Series, will you autograph it for me if I mail it to you?
Sure.
Hell yeah! You're gonna get like 1,000 DMs of that now.
Right.
3,000 DM requested. Hey, what's your address? I'm gonna send you this so you can sign it real quick. And you got to pay postage on all those to mail the back. So start saving, buddy.
Man, that's not bad. Someone just picked up one of those new 5 POA Sabine Wrens and put the jetpack and shield that it comes with on the Black Series one, and it looks pretty good.
Not bad.
That's
I'm
not
gonna have
bad.
to look into that. How much is that new Epic Hero series or whatever they're calling it?
No idea.
Sabine's $15.
There you go.
15. That seems high. I just feel like I don't know why 15 for. I guess inflation is just going crazy these days. So I went, very fast off topic. I had Taco Bell for dinner today. Me only, it was $12. Inflation's getting crazy. We got $18 TVC figures out there. Yeah. It is insane. True. I was appalled when she said like my meal was $12.50.
Yeah.
And
remember, I've been watching a lot of like found tape stuff. And when people leave the commercials in, you see what like Burger King, you can get a meal for like $3, like a full meal for $3. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I forgot that's how cheap things were back then. You could eat, your whole family could eat for like $20.
Yeah.
And now that's like one meal. Like what just me is $20. Yeah.
And when I was in college, the beefy 5-layer burrito meal deal was like $2.49, and you got the burrito, a chip, and a drink. And me and my buddies would walk from our apartment across the little field that was there, and we'd eat for like $3 each. Now it's like $12. It's insane. It's absurd. But
$5 footlongs weren't that far ago.
True.
Now they're like $13.99. Right. Crazy.
Yeah, man.
I miss the good old days when Black Series was $19.99. But I will say, Lane Spear Luke made an excellent point. Whenever you look at, like with inflation included, if you look at the original Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker that we got in 2014, and now the new one on the 40th anniversary card, that's I would easily pay an extra $5, $7 for that improvement and for that quality improvement. I know inflation is bad, but I feel like the quality of the figures, like with photoreal, a lot of them are worth it. A lot of
articulation.
Yeah, like with butterfly joints and all that. Like a lot of them aren't worth it. Like, I would say Shin Hati and Balin, obviously huge quality control issues there on the height. But for the most part, like the new clone, I'm definitely willing to pay a $5 difference for the 3.0 clone rather than that really old 1.0 clone Mahdi. That's on all those 501st figures I got on that Anakin display up there.
Well, I don't know how much time you have. I should have asked that before we go. We usually
open-ended.
Okay, good. I don't want to be like, wow, when are these guys going?
His kids are out of town at a soccer game. We're going 10 hours tonight.
I just didn't want to be rude as a podcast host person. Speaking of, Zach asks, what your top 10 wish list, but what era is your favorite? Like whenever Hasbro announces like OT, PT, Mandalorian, Clone Wars, what gets you giddy? What gets you excited? Is it anything new, or do you get a little bit more excited when
I'm trying to think? Let's see.
The next Mandalorian figure
Well, you can't say when Hasbro announces. You got to say whenever you see all the figures. When you see the list of figures coming out next year.
Has there been anything where you're like, I have to tell somebody. I have to tell somebody about this?
Yeah, that happens every now and then. There's a circle of people that we discuss things on the backside.
How do I get on that?
Yeah, where's that text chat at? Holy cow.
Trying to think.
Will you just DM me like a winky emoji if they're about to announce Anakin? Like, just DM me a wink emoji and I'll.
Okay, I will keep that in mind.
We're gonna hop on an emergency podcast as soon as that happens, Mike. Just joking. We will not, but maybe. You never know.
No, we're good at keeping secrets. There's been a lot of stuff that we have known beforehand.
I'm looking around.
Yeah, precisely. That Darth Vader isn't wasn't going to be new. I knew that. Like the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader they did, people were like, "Oh, new legs," but they told me, "Nope, it's mostly the same."
What era? I guess original trilogy is probably my go-to as far as getting the most excited when a new figure is announced. It it doesn't seem to happen as often as I'd like. They make a lot of great characters for The Mandalorian. I mean, even though people get kind of sick of Mando figures. It seems like it's like, oh,
I
another
think that's
Mandalorian.
happening right now. I think people
Right.
are collectively getting a little tired of only having options from the Mandalorian to buy
Right.
as figures.
And it's clearly the most represented line or subline in the current packaging.
Sure.
I'm a fan of Clone Wars, and I love most of the figures from that line. I don't really see any that I would say are bad figures.
And the crazy thing about the Mandalorian, while you're looking, I'll say this real quick. We got to the point where we're like, I'm so tired of buying Din Djarin figures, and they can't seem to get the helmet right, and they can't seem to get his head sculpt right on any of these, and they never include everything it comes with, like the staff and the soft goods, which is locked behind a 2-pack on Amazon exclusive. And then they drop the brand new Glavis Ring World, and it's like, I'm right back in the mix. Yeah. I'm buying this Din Djarin, and I want them to do this new body, put his head sculpt on it, and I'm buying it again. And then, like, it's such a good body mold that it.
I want an ice one, and
flawless.
I want a muddy one. I want everything on it. Give me that first episode, season 1 Mando again.
Hasbro has us wrapped around their fingers, man. I tell you, like, they're playing us like fiddles. And I love every second of it. Mostly.
As soon as they get to those different, Night Trooper variants, I mean, I'm going to be eating those up like crazy just because
5 each. Just boom, 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 5 each.
The zombie. Are you talking about the zombie troopers from Ahsoka? Right? Is that?
Trooper,
yeah.
Hopefully.
Trooper.
Specific, designs for some of them, as far as some of them have the gray parts on their helmet, which I think is a really cool look. I can't have multiples of those.
Yeah. We had one of the guys on here that did the costuming for Ahsoka,
nice.
Frederick's Figures, and he talked about how much fun that was.
Yeah,
to do. Yeah,
I'll be spending way too much money when those come out.
Agreed. I'm right there with you. You're not alone, Jason. You're not alone.
This is good podcasting.
I do like the the new R2D2, which
so good.
That body for R5D4
and the new the Grief Karga's droid, whatever his name is. I'll anything they put on that body, I'm buying it. That's another one.
By the way, I feel like since you brought up Grief Karga, this is the first podcast we've done since Cara Weathers' passing.
That was sudden and sad.
We can take a moment to put some respect on Cara Weathers' name for sure. Absolute legend, movies, Rocky, the Mandalorian, of course, for Star Wars. To all the people buying Grief Kargas in hopes they can sell them on eBay because he died, you're an asshole. So don't do that. You should.
I think it's funny. I think it's funny that it takes someone dying for them to want his figure.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when he got announced and it came out, I bought him and I said, this is a sleeper hit. People are going to pass on this. I know.
You're talking about the second one?
Either one. The second one specifically. The first one was a disappointment, but the second one's a great figure. And people were still like, no, I'm just going to get an Ollie's. Like, oh, I'm not going to get it. It's a peg warmer and whatever. And now that he's dead, suddenly not so peg warmery, huh? Like, little Johnny come lately. Like, what? Where were you? Where were you when it came out? That, like, why didn't you want Grief on your shelf then? Why does it take the actor dying for you to want this character on your shelf when he's already a great character and it's already a great figure? What changed? Why does him dying make it so you want him? I just think it's weird. I think it's a weird thing. Like when Billy D. Williams dies, is that what's going to make? Is that what it's going to take to move Lando's off the shelf? And I don't want Billy D. Williams to die. I'm not saying that so he dies, but like it's just weird how people are like, oh, I don't really want that, and then the actor dies, and suddenly like, oh, I need one for my shelf. I need it. Like, why? Just buy it now. Just buy it right now. Nothing's going to stop you from buying it.
Yep.
They're
It'll
good
happen,
figures.
sadly.
I know he's getting up there in age. It's not a matter of if it's
Yeah.
it's a matter of when, and that's true for all of us. Like Billy D, well, man, I know his name. Carl Weathers was not old. He was older, but like I wouldn't say he's old. You know,
Right.
Him
Yeah.
dying was super surprising and sad.
Yep.
I remember when I think Luke dropped the news in a little chat, and I was in the middle of making a sandwich, and I just put everything down, and I just like walked around my kitchen. I paced my kitchen for like a good 5 minutes, trying to like just internalize the news. Like,
Right.
so sudden. But yeah, super sad. Thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family and friends.
And I've been kind of thinking about buying that Magistrate one just for the head swap because I feel like it's a lot better sculpt and just putting it because I like the season 1 version a little better.
The outfit.
But now I feel like I can't buy it because I don't want to be pinned as one of the people buying it just because he passed. So I got to wait like a couple months before the wave clears.
Now. Just buy it. And there's nothing wrong with owning stuff. I just think it's weird that people were actively not buying it until now, where they're like,
then they're like, oh, now I got to buy it.
Now I gotta buy it. The guy died. I guess. Like, I don't know. It's weird that that's what it took for you to want to buy it, but okay.
It is weird how that works. But rest in peace, Carl Weathers. I wonder if he was supposed to be in the new movie that's coming out.
Oh, 100% he was.
Do you think?
Yeah, 100% he was. Yeah. And I'm a little sad, but we're not going to get that. Obviously, that's like the least thing that I should care about, because that's the only thing that really affects me. I've seen someone suggest LeVar Burton as a replacement, because like, what are your options? Where is his character Grief Karga dies? He goes, like, he gets retired. He's off on an adventure and he's no longer High Magistrate or whatever. Like what are the options there? And like recast him and keep it going.
I think if they kind of get back to the roots of what the Mandalorian was from season 1, where he's doing his thing, he and Grogu are gonna go do their next adventure, and you're on now new planets, and you have new sidekicks and they're still alive. They're just
it's like Cara Dune's out there.
Yeah, it's like Cara Dune. Cara Dune's out there somewhere. She went, It is, they don't. I guess what I'm saying is I don't want them to kill Grief Karga just because the actor died.
Right,
is my point. Like, I don't want him to die twice. I guess, but like with Ray Stevenson, obviously they can't kill his character. I mean, they can. I don't know how the story's gonna go, but like,
I feel like they can't ignore his kid. They have to recast Ray.
They have to recast him.
He's like on a quest. They gotta pay that off.
That's such a just anticlimactic thing. It's like, oh well, he died on his quest. Like, then why show us? I mean, I guess Shin Hati could take it up, but I feel like in that case they definitely have to recast him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Ray, do you have any insight on what exactly happened with the Balin and Shin figures, on why those came out at exactly 6 inches each?
No, I don't.
Because we were joking around that whoever sculpted them got they saw 6 inches and they just made 6-inch figures, and rather than 6-inch scale, so they made Balin the size of an Ahsoka Tano figure for some reason.
Something was lost in translation.
Yeah, I just want Hasbro because they do those, they do those question the round tables with certain news sites, and I'm surprised you're never on those. I feel like, I know you might be on their Public Enemy #1 list, but I feel like you're a website big enough to be able to be on those. But I just know they won't address it for some reason.
Yeah,
and hopefully they do one day, because I'm really curious on what happened there.
The factory missed the note.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Who knows?
I went through all my questions, and I think I feel like we asked all of our questions that we usually ask people. Like, what's your favorite TBS or TVC? We talked about that. What's your favorite era to collect? We kind of talked about that.
We talked about that. Yeah.
I accused you of ruining the Rancor, which is something I've always wanted to do. And I told you to your face that it kind of bums me out when you spoil figures, but that's not your problem. That's my problem. I get why you do it. I get why you do it.
Do you ever feel guilty whenever you drop like everything that's going to be announced? Do you feel, or like, because like the day before a big event, you'll just post pictures of everything that's announced?
Guilty? No, not guilty.
Not guilty.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. I don't know how to describe it.
I just wish I could see the Star Wars team's reaction whenever they're like, "You did it to us again, you mother," a bunch of like, "Why didn't we pipeline these last year? Yeah, why didn't we pipeline these? How does he do it every time?"
I have a list, right, of stuff that I've heard of that I'm not going to spoil, just because I have,
Oh no, feel free. I mean, you have the floor is yours. Just pull out the scroll.
Told in confidence of quite a bit of it, and
I get you don't want to ruin your sources, and stuff like that. I get that.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin sources, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
I do like having the surprise kind of be natural, for everyone, for a lot of stuff. But if it's something that's readily available, or it gets posted early on some sort of a retailer's site, I'll post it. And,
yeah, it's fair game. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens when I drop some of that stuff early. It's already out there. It's already online.
Yes.
You're just the one that finds
I'm just advertising it. It's like, oh, by the way, Amazon dropped all of these, pictures online, or whoever did,
Yeah.
It happens.
I hate it when retailers aren't on the same page as Hasbro. It's like Walmart, I feel like, does it all the time. Or like sometimes Amazon, we're like, okay, these will go live, and then they don't. Like, and like I think there was one where it's like, actually, Walmart's not going to do it today. They're doing it in like 2 weeks when they're having a collector thing. Like, why are we just finding that out now? Like, why couldn't you have announced that? Walmart, I think, is the worst when it comes to exclusives. Worse than Target, worse than everything. Walmart, in my opinion.
And for no reason. It's like, why does it have to be that difficult?
Right.
If obviously there's a press release that's written with information and links, being distributed, why can't they be active at the time that it says in the press release?
Right.
Granted, there's a lot of moving parts with a lot of that stuff, and stuff gets overlooked, but to flip a switch essentially and say, this is good to go at this time, or have something, pre-planned and scheduled to go live at this time. It's kind of amazing that in this day and age that still happens.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, we're talking about toys, like in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Walmart doesn't care about toys.
No.
Like Walmart and Target, they're not collectible places. Like, I love it when things are fan channel exclusive, because they're handled by people that care about
the action figures. Yeah.
And it bugs me, and I know it shouldn't, because I can't control other people, but it bugs me whenever anyone's like, oh, it's exclusive. Like, fan channel exclusive might as well not even be exclusive. Like, it just means you're not going to go to Walmart or Target and find it on a shelf. Like,
it just means you have to put less effort in to get the toy.
Right.
Like, you just order online.
There's so many options to buying it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why anyone would ever complain about it. And like I was saying, it's sometimes better because the people that are ordering them like this stuff. There's no one high up that's ordering things from Target and Walmart that care about toys. Yeah. They don't give a shit about toys. They want you to buy other stuff. And having those toys is just a way to get you into their stores, which is why they prioritize getting things in the store before fulfilling online orders.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a little. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk, guys. I feel good getting that off my chest. But yeah,
Do you have a favorite Black Series figure?
No, I don't.
What about a TVC
it
figure?
changes. I just finally, for the longest time, I was missing my Rex, my original Captain Rex, and I was kind of bummed because I thought I was going to have to rebuy it.
Is that it right there in the bottom corner of your
Right above your name?
right there?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Where was he? Where was he hiding?
he was under my desk in a cardboard box with some other figures that I used to have on display. I remember I was redoing my displays, and I had like a bunch of the 327th Star Corps figures, like with Bly, and I had a bunch of those out, and I don't know why I had these guys together, but I had like a bunch of the Sith jet troopers, both the red and the white ones. They were just all these army builders in a box, and I had Rex and Bly and other troopers like that in there with them. And I didn't even realize that's what was in that box that had been under my desk for months, well, probably almost a year and a half. And I was going through there. I was looking for something. I think it's just some. I have these little LED lights. I knew I packed them somewhere, and I was just going through this box, and there they were. And that Rex was.
He was keeping them safe for you.
Was in there. Yep, and he's complete. He's not smashed. He's not warped. So
awesome.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites for some reason, even though it's an older clone, but
but he checks out
one of the best ones.
No, I agree. I think it whatever they did with that Rex, I don't think they used that specific body that often. But he's actually got really good articulation for the time, whereas some of the others didn't. And it's weird.
The deeper elbow bends and just the soft goods, and the likeness was fantastic.
What has been your favorite of the new Disney media shows? I'm not talking about like toys, but like I'm
the Ahsoka show or Mando.
I'm currently rewatching all of them. I watched the first 2 seasons of Mando. I watched the Book of Boba Fett. Now I'm almost done with season 3 of that, and I haven't seen a lot of these in a while, so I'm kind of going back and reliving them.
I think I like some of the newer shows for different reasons, like from a toy aspect. Yeah, Mandalorian is more my favorite. From like a general fun, expanding the Star Wars, legends type of thing. I think Ahsoka with the whole
like lore,
right. I like that. I like Andor because of how serious it is and how just top tier dialogue and acting is in it.
Yeah, I don't want everything in Star Wars to be Andor. Like, I don't want them to pivot and just make everything what Andor did. But I'm glad that we got something like Andor in the Star Wars universe. Like you said, it's just everything's top tier, serious. Like it hits differently, and it's good, but not too much of it, if that makes sense.
Yep.
But it's also kind of it's not very toyetic. Like I love it, and I've got all the Andor figures, but none of them are good toys.
Yeah,
they're just like people. Yeah,
like
they're just.
Stellan Skarsgård's character, Luthen, he's a great character, one of the best characters in the whole line. Right. But he's just an old man. I remember feeling this way, to be fair, when the Phantom Menace came out. And the 3 3/4 inch line, you got like Senator Palpatine, C.O. Bibble, Chancellor Valorum, and you're literally buying action figures of just old white dudes.
Right.
Like, because that's always kind of been a problem with Star Wars. Like has any kid ever wanted a General Jan Dodona action figure from A New Hope? So he could give a briefing to all the rebels. Like, nobody wants that. But there's like a completionist in me that like, yeah, I kind of want that, so I can set up that scene if I want to.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not going to be, raiding and fighting the Empire with a gun or anything like that. And it's
flying your X-wing.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. My apologies. Wilbon did want a General Dan Dodona. My apologies. But it's weird that it took Andor for us to get a Mon Mothma figure. Right. I'm not complaining because, again, she's gorgeous. She's a great figure. And I think she was sculpted by Sarah Lynn Reynolds. If I remember
she
right.
She did Mon Mothma.
Who we had on our show, and that was I'm name dropping all these people so people can go back and listen to these episodes. Mm-hmm. It's a subtle thing, but it was a good episode where
we talked about sculpting butts.
Sculpting butts. I was like, someone's got to sculpt a butt. And like, is it weird sculpting a butt? Just those things I've always wanted to know.
The example we pulled up, because she did the Force Awakens Han Solo. So
Han Solo.
You had to look at this old man butt. Like, did you have to like look at that one, or did you just kind of do a generic?
Are these pants saggy enough? Like, but
that's
anyways,
a good listen. So people should go back and check that one out for sure.
It's just weird with as influential as Mon Mothma has been that we're just now getting a figure, and it's from Andor. It's from New Media, and she doesn't come with anything. I had to go on Etsy and buy a little champagne glass to give her something to hold because it's just weird.
You had to look and see what I have mine doing. She's just standing there.
She's just standing there. Well, and it's the same thing with Morgan Elsbeth. Like, again, a great character, great actor playing her, but like they give her nothing to do. I had to buy a cheap Scarlet Witch to give her expressive hands. Exactly.
Yep.
You did the same thing. Like, we're having to supplement these.
What do you mean she doesn't come with anything, Mike?
Yeah, that Flint.
Nice.
You got the Flint? Man, it'd be so cool if I got
this is yours.
Yeah, it's so cool if I got one. It'd be so
I was supposed to mail it out last week.
Yeah, I mailed one to you. I mailed your thing to you.
I mailed you a whole Jabba's Palace, all right?
You did. No, thank you. In two boxes, mind you.
I was supposed to drop this in it, but I forgot. And it's been on my desk for like almost a year now, I feel like. Yeah. At least 6 months I've been meaning to mail this to you, but it'll get you eventually.
I guess I don't know why I'm complaining about this. I don't know why I don't have any point that I'm trying to make other than I like this new media. Some of the characters aren't very toyetic, and to make it worse, they don't give them anything to do. Right. Like, I remember back when, I started collecting Star Wars during the 95 Power of the Force, and they would go the opposite direction where they would give people that didn't have guns big guns.
Yeah.
And they gave R5D4 a rocket launcher and, blasters on the side that he could point at people. And like I want to find some kind of balance between nothing and a bunch of guns that they shouldn't come with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yak, I do want to ask, what are some things, maybe like say Hasbro gave you the keys and you run Black Series now and TVC, you run the Star Wars brand team. What are some things that you would change, or maybe to improve the line, or just change to be better in your eyes and what you see fit? How would you go about that?
I think I do more aliens for both lines.
Yeah, for sure.
Star Wars, that was kind of its known thing, when it first came out, as far as, the Cantina was like the huge, for the time, I guess, we look back on it, and obviously the masks and the effects didn't probably hold up as well as they maybe thought they were going to back then. But those are iconic aliens, and I think we need more of those in Black Series for sure. There's been dozens of different 3 3/4 inch aliens since the beginning. Having new or modern definitive versions would be great for vintage collection. But to have more aliens from either, Jabba's palace or or for the Cantina would be ideal for the Black Series. I think more Jedi, prequel Jedi or expanded universe type stuff for Black Series. I would do that.
What do you think of the that 4-pack with the Thrawn and the Luke?
That's great.
But the Last Command. I'm so excited for it. It's stupid how excited I am for that.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun set.
Well, now screw that. I'm excited about this 5-pack we were talking about earlier. That seems out of this world. That sounds crazy.
Do you think that they're ever going to release more of the Cantina? We got a fourth of it with 3 characters, and it'd be cool if they could just do more of those. Like, give us another.
It's right here. What are you talking about? It's right here.
Sure. Give us another fourth with 3 other. Give us the Abe and Muftak or something. Like, there's so many Cantina characters that could give us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to revisit.
That's sad.
At least the bar, yeah. What else would I do? I guess more vehicles and beast type stuff for both lines. I think, speeders.
They just like a Darth Maul speeder from episode 1 seems so easy. It's not big at all, and I feel like people would love it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something they could really, really do.
I think that size vehicle is perfect for the line. Give us an Ewok with the glider, or that Darth Maul. Those little
the Droideka
speeders.
box, right? The
Yeah.
Droideka box they're doing, where it's going to be so deep and wide because of how big the Droideka is. Just do a box like that, throw the speeder in.
Yep.
Make it have to snap together in the middle and the bottom if they need to for space and storage in the box, and pack it with the Darth Maul. I think that would sell like hotcakes.
I think technically the last vehicle we got in the line was the Mandalorian speeder bike, and I think that sold really well.
Yeah, the white one, the Amazon exclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah, they made it an exclusive, so they ran, smaller numbers on it. So I think that's probably the way they might be able to go with those. And that way, with the Amazon exclusive, you don't have to worry about it sitting on shelves at Walmart, Target, how the original speeder bike and Jabba did way back in 2014, 2015 and all that. So, because I remember that Jabba the Hutt when it first came out, they were at Toys R Us 8 high stacked, at least in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where I went to college at. They couldn't hand those away way back in the day. So, but now just with the speeder, we just make an Amazon exclusive, make it a Fan Channel exclusive, so you don't got to pack shelves. It'd be perfect.
Maybe a little Leia.
A little Leia. I haven't seen anything about a little Leia.
Hasn't seen anything about it.
No.
Hasn't seen anything.
I need a little Leia from the Obi-Wan show. It seems like an easy, something they would definitely do since she was such a main character. So hopefully it's out there somewhere.
They could just alter the Omega figure
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a poncho on her and
put a poncho. Yeah, just I feel
that's it.
I feel like it'd be pretty easy. Yeah.
Oh God, we're getting into the crazy comments.
Now we're getting to the spoil something for us.
Let me look at my list.
Now people are just here to get you to spoil things now.
We had people sign up for the Patreon just to be able to be live with you on here, by the way, which is pretty sweet.
Good. Glad I could help. Let's see. Any new Jedi or name clones? Looking at my list, there's definitely some Jedi and some name clones. Yeah.
Are those the 2-packs? The new clones of the Republic, or
no?
Maybe single packed.
Singles, according to my list.
And is that part of I'm assuming that's the 20th anniversary thing they're doing. They're pushing that.
I'm not sure if these are or not, because might be getting into 2025.
That's a good question, Will Bun asked. What's the usual time frame that you find things out in relation to reveals from Hasbro?
Oh, sometimes it
When they think of it, somebody messaged them like, this is what we got.
it could be a couple years for some things, like that. We still don't have, Chiarimundi, and that's been known forever.
I remember when you first
2020, I think.
put that rumor. Yeah, absolutely.
Some things just get kind of backburnered or pushed to coincide with these the mini beats or whatever they're calling,
Anniversaries and
the anniversary.
Well, then it doesn't help that they revealed him a year ago.
Right.
And we still don't have him, because that was that one where they're like, we're not doing any pre-orders for anything we're revealing today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we might have had a pre-order for him for a year at this point, which is, I feel like that wouldn't be as bad as just not knowing what's happening with him for a year.
Right. I think originally the plan was for him to come out in like April of 2023.
Okay.
So
hopefully he hits here soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's coming out with the Phase 1 clone.
Right.
Oh, because they're 4-packed. Yeah.
He.
So I mean, that'll be a quick turnaround for the Phase 1. Then.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't. Now that I think back about Chiarimundi more, I don't know when it was originally supposed to come out, but when they revealed it, back in
February of last year,
February of 2023, that's when it was.
Yeah.
I think at the time they said it won't be out until this year, right? Is that what they said back then?
So. Yeah.
But I think when the info for that figure first surfaced, it was supposed to be a 2023, April 2023 release.
So something had to push it back.
Yeah.
Whether that's new media
all
or
these
just
different
anything.
shows.
Yeah. Just logistics also could get in the way of, maybe they didn't finish the molds or, all the, a factory error. Yeah, who knows about all that. Yeah, that fabulous question from Mrs. Wilbon.
Mrs. Wilbon asked that question. That was hi, Mrs. Wilbon. Thanks for letting Wilbon hang out with us.
I feel like I should know her name. I think it's Courtney. I think it's Courtney.
No. She's Mrs.
Sure
Wilbon.
it's Courtney. I'm diving into my memory banks.
Yeah.
Wilbon, if your wife's name is Courtney, or not Courtney, she's going to be really mad at whoever Courtney is.
It's Courtney now.
Courtney was the one he was hanging out with at ICC Con, so...
Oh, that's awkward.
Mrs. Wilbon's going to be real mad now.
Did you just out Wilbon?
He has to double his VIP payment now for me to say that. I'm just joking now. He has to buy us out. So Wilbon's probably in trouble right now. So
Cool. Well, honestly, I have
I-
nothing else to ask.
I'm going to see YakFace looking at his
Yeah.
list. He's looking
I
at his
know,
list like,
and I feel
he's like-
bad.
he's looking at that episode 3 Anakin like, when do I say this?
I'm
gonna withhold.
I didn't invite Jason on just so we could grill him about figures that haven't been announced yet.
Yeah.
Did I hope we'd get some? Sure. And did we? Absolutely, probably, maybe. But I genuinely wanted to hear him talk about his thoughts on the line.
Yeah.
And I wanted to hear him talk about his thoughts on the Rancor. And I feel like I got that. And that's literally all I could ask for. So thank you for being on. I'm not ending it. I'm just thanking you for being on.
Yeah, let's what did you think of all those Nerdzoic reveals? Like,
That's a good question. We had him on too.
yeah, we had Nerdzoic on.
It was, when I first heard about it, it was tough for me to put a lot of faith in some of those things, just because of how old some of those things were.
Yep.
Like the 2-pack, the night.
Yeah.
What are the Scout Trooper and the dark ones and the
Shadow Trooper.
the Shadow Shadow set. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadow
That's
Squadron.
2014.
Yeah.
2015.
I had the same misgiving. Like, there's no way they're gonna redo that old packaging
In the same packaging too, and not really like some of the stuff was a little out there.
Yeah. Some of the stuff did come, as far as some of the helmet stuff and the the vintage collection, ATST Raider. But yeah, some of those really early Black Series stuff and some of the later red and black box stuff, I just didn't ever see those, that ever being a real thing. So, I didn't really say anything publicly about it, to give it any kind of credence or dismiss it out of hand or anything like that, just because.
Yeah, you just let it play out, and
generally with something as specific like that, it works itself out. So yeah, I didn't really like I said, I didn't really think a lot of it was going to come.
Yeah, that's a great question, because that was a big deal in the collector community for a little bit. And then some of the great.
I have to get a new Darth Nihilus because I broke the lightsaber for him. And honestly, like, he works better on. I figured out you need to swap the body because the old body kept falling. And once you do that, he's stable and great and looks amazing.
Yeah,
but
on the
mine has a broken lightsaber now because he fell and broke his lightsaber. And that's another thing, Hasbro, if you're listening, give us accessory packs. Give me a new lightsaber. There's no reason for you not to. Just give us some new stuff. Give us an accessory pack. Give us some robes. Give us some replacement lightsabers. Give us some blasters.
It's just so odd that they don't they usually don't give Jedi their Jedi robes.
The robes.
Like, there should at least be an option to buy robes on it. Like, Hasbro Pulse exclusive. Like, we can buy figure stands. Why can't we buy a pack of lightsabers or blasters or Jedi robes, like black, brown? Make it a 3-pack so you have to buy multiple colors, or like a dark brown, light brown, and a black.
Rip us off a little bit just to get me the one I want.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying, because they're not just going to give you a 1-pack. Like, they're not going to bother with that. You'll pay $4.99 and they're going to ship you one of them. Like, I don't think they do that, but like, they'll do it with the stands where you have to buy 3 of them for $15. So make it a 3-pack. I would buy it because you always need a dark brown, a light brown, and a black robe. You never know.
Give us a HasLab. Give us lightsaber and robes as a HasLab.
Jeez. Just make every color of the rainbow.
$350. Get 3 robes and some cardboard.
That's what the biggest disappointment was about the Rancor HasLab. It didn't come with a robe.
It didn't come with a robe.
He should have had a little nightgown, because he gets cold down there. Should have had him put that on. Instead of the cardboard, give him a robe, and then it would have backed all tears. I promise.
Yep.
We're just missing that Jedi robe.
The Luke Skywalker came with a robe in that one.
Yeah.
That specific Luke Skywalker that we're never gonna get.
Do you know, Yak? Do you know if the single release of the Super Battle Droid is going to have the same paint apps, or is it going to be different than the 2-pack?
I think it's different. I think it's its own unique deco, whether it's clean or has a different dirty. But I'm pretty sure it's unique. Yeah.
Okay, I'm really hoping it's clean.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping it's clean, because I don't want the sand on it.
I want it to be dirty. I want a dirty battle droid.
You're getting one in the 2-pack.
It's true, I am.
But Justin from Out of the Basement said that that's going to have a blaster mark on the back, apparently, and it's going to be very scene specific in the 2-pack. So hopefully that translates to having a different painted version on the single release, which sounds like it. So.
Yep.
And But well, Mike, do you have anything? You have anything else for?
No, I've been wrung dry. I'm literally out. I mean, I've talked about Star Wars as much as I want to talk about Star Wars today. Honestly,
That's fair.
I
Well,
want to go. I
Jason,
want to go eat some pizza.
that sounds
That's what I
great.
want to do.
That sounds fabulous. Jason, also known as YakFace, a man who needs no introduction. We greatly appreciate you joining the Black Series
Yes, great.
Cantina,
Thank you very much for having me.
stepping in and
Appreciate
having
it.
a drink with us here in the Cantina. Do you have anything to plug? I know
Yeah,
you have the website and
Plug stuff.
Not
plug.
really. YakFace.com. That's it.
Everybody knows you.
Instagram. That's where I usually hang out. Instagram,
Mhm.
Twitter.
I genuinely want to know if you're listening to this. Do you not know who YakFace is? I'm not making fun of you if you don't, but let me know. Send us an email. Send us a DM. I'm genuinely curious if this is the first you've ever heard of YakFace or Jason. I just want to know. That's it. Not going to make fun of you. It's fine.
There's no way somebody has not heard of.
And that's why I want to know. I want to
Like
know.
maybe Jason, maybe they never knew the face behind the website and the site,
That's
but
true. Yeah.
Right.
but
I didn't know your real name until that one time we were all in Out of the Basement together when you randomly popped in.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, his name's Jason. That's neat. That was a
Yeah.
fun time.
mm-hmm. Mike, do you have anything you want to plug? Any video?
No, man. Honestly, I should be making videos. I started making the selfie series one, and then I broke the glasses on it, and it kind of killed my want to make a video on it. So I've been playing. I replayed Final Fantasy VII Remake in anticipation of the new one coming out. So instead of doing video work, I've been playing video games.
Productive. I like it.
Yeah, productive. Oh, and I've been redoing my shelves, and that is not easy. I've also been dusting them because, like, if I have everything off the shelf, I might as well dust it.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's like the one time every 3 years or whatever my shelves get dusted. So that's also what I've been doing instead of watching things. And while that's on, I'll have The Mandalorian or whatever playing. So I'm only like half watching that.
Black Series Cantina podcast.
Yeah, Black Series Cantina podcast. They'll do those too. I was on other people's podcasts. I'm going to be on Secret Galaxy tomorrow night. Just hanging out with Dan Larson. I was on the Toy Kind of Mood last week. And Victoria's. I was on Victoria's channel like last Friday or whatever. So there was an earthquake when I was on a Toy Kind of Mood, and then
saw
there was
your
an earthquake
tweet
today. It was crazy. Like what's happening? The Earth's gonna blow up.
Did any of your figures fall over? Or
No.
they made it.
None, zero, and it was
Wow.
not a light shake either. But I think these risers work really well in kind of absorbing that
Some
motion.
of that. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, nothing fell. There is the HK droid is on the ground, but he falls over anyway. Like he just falls over.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's drunk.
Yeah.
He
Or
does not watch
poorly
that.
designed by Hasbro to have
Either way,
thin legs.
I don't know what it is with Hasbro and
support the weight.
droids. I want to love droids from Hasbro, but like almost none of them want to stand up, and it's so weird.
Only
it's
the
like-
beefy ones like Ned B and the Dark Trooper. Like
Yeah,
the
you're
thin
right.
ones,
Those
you're-
stand up.
you're out.
Yeah. But like the
I was gonna say I found the sweet spot for my HK droids because
did you?
they've been standing up here on my desk for months, like, and they have
Dang.
not fallen. They just hang out.
Wow, you must have a Hasbro sent you the good ones.
Right.
I will say my New Republic droids have been standing pretty good. And I found a good spot for my all my battle droids are back here on the wall. Some of them are leaned back, but most of them are standing, and they're doing pretty good there. But for whatever reason, you can't see it because my nameplate's right. The specific HK droid on the ground, he will
Just
not
always
stand.
falls.
I cannot get him to
Mhm.
stand no matter what I do. But the K2 droids always also fall. Like all
Yeah.
of them just fall
Mhm.
over for like no reason.
Well, I think we're ending the podcast too soon now because I see Jason's got a nice Heineken there. So I feel like he needs like 8 more of those and he'll just read us the list.
No, they're alcohol free. So,
Oh, okay. No, so no shot. So you can follow me on Instagram at Black Series Cantina. You can follow me on TikTok at the Star Wars Black Series. That still has the classic name. Support us on Patreon if you're financially able to. We greatly appreciate it. You get to join us live at the $11.38 tier. You can also get video access at $5, and we have a general support tier at $2, and then a VIP tier, which is not open right now. We have 6 VIPs who we do our monthly VIPs, and I think we might be doing that next week. TBD, we'll update that in our Facebook group, which
We do it once a month. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yep. Join the Facebook group, Black Series Cantina. So, Jason, if you're on Facebook and you want to join our Black Series Cantina Facebook group, normally you have to answer 2 questions to get in, but you're so special. You just get in upon request. So,
Cool.
Everybody should join our Facebook group, and then also follow us on Twitter at TBS Cantina. Send us an email, blackseriescantina@gmail.com. If you want merch, we have merch. We have nice fancy pint glasses. We have a Rancor t-shirt and coffee mugs. So we're going to send Jason an RIP Rancor t-shirt. It says 2021 to 2021. So it was short-lived campaign there. So yeah, we appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple weeks for our next episode. We'll be executing episode 66. So that'll be a good time. YakFace, Jason, thank you so much. We can't say thanks enough.
Absolutely.
It was a blast. We got
Seriously.
the bombshells from you, which is fabulous.
I appreciate it.
So
Thanks.
I don't
for the
think.
questions.
Yeah. So that's all I got. We'll everybody have a great time. We'll hope to have you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.